Good morning, moms, or good afternoon. Happy Saturday. What's going on? Oh my goodness, I'm so happy to see y'all. We got a good one for y'all today, okay? My name is Sharita. I am the Behavior and Learning Strategist coming at you from the Morgan Unlimited Growth Institute, where you can find solutions for your child's behavior and literacy and math. Just learning challenges, y'all. I told you I was going to have my cup of tea. So that's my teapot going. I'm going to go and pour some hot water in my teacup, and I'll be right back with y'all, okay? Go and get your cup of tea, all right? Because it's going down. Or coffee or whatever y'all want to drink, all right? Let's do this. All right. Let's get going. I don't have homemade tea today. I have some of Tabitha Brown's organic orange nettle dandelion tea, I think it is. For detox, y'all. Today was a day, y'all know I started my 7-day challenge. Let me move. I was trying to get this set straight. My 7-day self-care challenge. What's a 7-day self-care challenge? That's when we moms take 7 days and say, I'm going to take care of myself for 7 days. Doesn't mean we don't take care of our children, our families. You know we always on. We like doctors, right? We are always on call. We're still taking care of our children and our families, but we're thinking about, what do I need? What do I need for my body? What do I need for my spirit? What do I need for my mind? And we really customize it. And whatever we need for ourselves, we take care of it. And we make it a priority. You move it off that back burner and put it to the front burner. And we do that for 7 days, okay? So this is day 3 of my self-care challenge, okay? And I am doing first meditation, then yoga, and then treadmill. I got a treadmill in my house, y'all, so it's taking it to the next level. And child, I was tired after that this morning. I still got up at 5 o'clock this morning and did all that, and then took a shower. I was feeling so good. I was like, I'm just going to lay down for a little bit. And I had the ocean sounds playing in the background for meditation. Honey, I almost didn't make it here. Almost didn't make it here. Woo, child. I almost didn't make it here. I woke up like, I plan to wake up like 2 hours before to get in the zone and everything. But I'm here. I got my tea. We ready to rock and roll. We ready to do this. Like Brutus, like I've been telling my students. I got my students using my old phrases, y'all. So it's a good one today. Today is a good one, let me tell you. All right? This is ways to listen to your child and improve connections with your child. Ways to listen to and improve connections with your child. This is a good one. It's not easy. It's not easy. I know as a mom, and I know as a professional as well. My husband and I have 2 children. We have our oldest daughter, Jazzy, who's 15. She's a teenager, right? So that's unique, right? When we're talking about improving connections and listening to. And then we decided to have another child 10 years later. We have Maya, okay? Or as her teachers now affectionately call her, Maya Papaya, all right? And she's 5 years old. So I know as a mom, but I also know as a professional. I was a mental health specialist at UMDNJ in Newark for a while, and I work with children for about almost 5 years, and I work with children with behavior and focus challenges. So behavior modification and social skills, for children who had those challenges or disorders, right? And then I want to become a teacher, a special education teacher, and I worked to improve children's behavior and learning in the classroom because I had a strong mental health background, behavior modification background. I had those skills, and when I was a mental health specialist, I realized that a lot of the kids who came to us, when we had the group, they would come to us in a group and we would work with them. A lot of them couldn't read, they couldn't write, they couldn't spell. Some of them couldn't even write their own names. And when it was time for them to do homework, they would really act out. So I was like, I feel like we're solving only half the problem by just taking care of their behavior. I need to get into school, okay? And when I go into the school, this was me, what was I, like 26? When I go into the school, no. It was before I was 30. I was late 20s. When I go into a school, I want to teach children how to improve their behavior, their focus, and teach them how to improve their grades, teach them how to read, right? All at the same time. My first classroom, I was a substitute teacher. I had been a substitute teacher for a while. I was bouncing from place to place. Substitute teacher life, you don't want that. That's what I was doing, bouncing from place to place to place to place. And then I was so happy to get an actual classroom. I wanted to go in there and teach, right? My students had a lot of behavior problems. They were fighting, they were throwing things, they were kicking chairs and kicking over desks and running out of the classroom and cursing at teachers and throwing tantrums. Security had to come and get them and pull them out. And that was the problem for me because like I said, that was my expertise. But while I was there, I said, they gonna learn. And I told them, I said, I don't know what y'all think this is, but this is a classroom. So you're going to learn how to read, you're going to write, you're going to spell, you're going to do math, okay? So all this acting up is gonna stop right now. And after the first day, because that's how I came in, boom, guess who stepped in the room? After I came in, the first day I stayed there until night. It was dark outside. I remember it. And I was just writing stuff and creating stuff and big posters. And I designed a behavior modification system in my classroom. Okay? And when they came back the next day, we studied it. Like, it's a new day. All right? So, long story short, along the way, my students improved their behavior. They sat down, they did their work, they participated in learning games, which I love to do with students, but they're interactive. Get up and get out your seat, learning games. And they improved their reading, they improved their spelling, they improved their grades. And one of the students that year transitioned from a special education classroom into the general education classroom. So, and my second year teaching, I was teaching a school, a permanent teacher, an actual certified teacher at that time. Another one of my students transitioned out. So the mission of the Morgan Unlimited Growth Institute, because I felt at that time like I want to keep doing it, is to make sure help children read and function at or above their grade level and transition out of special education services and into general education classrooms. So I know nowadays kids have pull-out sources. I was a resource teacher as well, so I know that. But my goal is for our children to no longer need an IEP, to function independently, to do it themselves, grow their reading, grow their math, and do so well that they no longer need these accommodations, all right? So that's a little bit of background on me. Let's get into the topic, all right? Yeah, that's gonna work. That's gonna work for the day, y'all. I don't know, it looks, in a cell phone, it looks like it's light, but it's pretty dark in here. It's a pretty dark Saturday. All right, so we're going to be talking about ways to listen to our children, ways to improve connections with our children, ways to listen to and improve connections with our children, okay? I have a couple of good tips for you. All right. During this live, I'll be here for an hour from 12 to 1. If you have any questions, please post them in the comment section or DM me, okay? Send me a direct message with your question or comment. And also, you can go to Growth Institute 100 at gmail.com. You can send me an email with Growth Institute 100 at gmail.com. And for more information, you can go to my website, growthinstitute.mykajabi.com. That's GROWTH, because that's what we focus on here. Institute.mykajabi.com, y'all, okay? All right, so next live coming up next Saturday is going to be a Q&A. So I'll be answering your questions. You can pop on here and ask questions. That's what I'll be here for. I'm going to review the last couple of lives, do a little recap, and then answer questions, okay? That's going to be next Saturday, all right? All right. Now, first, when we are thinking of ways to listen to and connect with our children, we have to think about why is it sometimes difficult to do that, okay? So I know that, like I said, I have a 5-year-old and I have a teenager, okay? And sometimes with my teenager, she has her own opinions. She's growing into a young adult. That's normal. That's understandable. That's what I want, actually. So, but the thing is that teenagers may not always feel comfortable coming to their parents to talk about things. They may talk about things with their friends, but they may not talk to their parents, okay? They may even talk about things with their aunt or uncle, but they may not talk to their parents. So the key to this is, I know the title is Ways to Listen to and Connect with Our Children, but that's not the primary reason why we're talking about this today, or reason why we're going after this. The primary reason is for our children to feel safe to always be expressing themselves. And if we are their parents, then we want them to feel like they can come to us, okay? The reason why we want them to feel like they can come to us is because we are their foundation. We are their home. So we don't want our children coming home and feeling like they have stuff on their minds and they feel like they can't talk to us about it or say what they want to us, okay? So this is why we are discussing this today. Little ones, and this might go for the older ones too, but little ones may, especially if they're the youngest in the family, they might be trying to get in where they fit in all the time. You know, everybody's busy, everybody's older, everybody's doing their own thing, and they have little thoughts in their minds, and they're not opinionated as opinionated as the older kids yet. They're developing these thoughts, so they may not even know how to get them out or form them, okay? So we want, whether our child is a young child or whether they're an older child, we want them to be able to feel like they can say what they need to say. But now we want them to, we want to understand that all children need to be able to express themselves and feel heard. Every child, I've been talking to and listening to children for years, and they all want to be able to express themselves and be heard. Even if it's, their faces brighten up. Even if you're asking them, what's your favorite ice cream? Their face brighten up because it's like you're asking about me, okay? You want to know about me. So every child wants to be heard and wants to be able to express themselves, even quiet ones. Now, when we have quiet children, we have to make sure that they are heard even when there's a lot of noise going on around them. We want to make sure that our quiet children are heard as well, okay? Now, first, we want to set up an environment where everyone is talking. Everyone talks, everyone gets a turn. Everyone gets asked, what do you think? Everyone, okay? So first we want to set up an environment, and then we want to have thought-provoking self-expression questions that we ask our children that make them think, and also make them think on another level and express themselves and to keep it going. Okay, so those are the two key things. One, you want an environment, a safe space where kids feel like they can talk. Okay, you set up an environment like that. The other one is you want to get very good at asking thought-provoking self-expression questions. So I'm going to give you tips for all those today. All right, it's good to write these down if you want to use them right away. All right, so like I said before, we're all talking and we're all getting a turn. Everybody gets a turn. Sometimes we sit at a table and or in the living room, and this is good practice for Maya because Maya is always trying to get in and say what she needs to say, right? Actually, she's very articulate for a 5-year-old. This is what happened when I went to my husband and I went to her school yesterday for a meeting. They were just talking about how articulate she is. It's like she's a different kind of kindergartner. Okay, I'll tell y'all more about that meeting in a minute as we go on. All right. So sometimes we're in the living room, and for her to be able to wait her turn to speak, because sometimes she wants to talk and talk even when other people are trying to talk, right? So that's been practice for her. But when it all boils down to it, Jazzy will get a turn to talk, Maya get a turn to talk, I'll get a turn to talk. I'm talking about girl talk, girl time. We all just the girls, right? And then sometimes we're in the kitchen and we're doing the same thing. And what do you want to say, Maya? You know what I mean? Okay, because she's the one trying to get in where she fit in. And then my husband and my daughters and I, when we all get talking, it's very good conversation. And it's very good for our daughters because they can hear from both of their parents different views and aspects of the conversation. And sometimes me and my husband we don't have the same thoughts, you know what I mean? So they can hear that and they can hear how to have a conversation. And then they can say what they think, okay? And we love hearing what they think. Even Maya, we love hearing what she thinks. And she makes us laugh a lot because we wouldn't expect some of the things that she says, we wouldn't expect her to be thinking that, okay? So we have very good conversation. So that we have an environment where everybody's talking, everybody's getting a turn, right? I'm not saying it's perfect. Sometimes it's hard. The communication is hard. You got to work a little harder, especially when your kids get older, right? But we do have an environment here where everybody's talking and everybody has thoughts and thinking about stuff. And it shows up when our girls go to school, okay? Because then the teachers notice it, all right? But aside from those two examples of just having conversations in your home and not the devices all the time being in the way, you know what I'm saying? But looking at each other and having these conversations and talking to each other and asking each other questions, right? Aside from those two, you want to do things together. And I'm going to list a couple of things that we do together, me and my girls, right? That I notice helps them have conversations or get their thoughts out, okay? One thing we do is, and one thing you can do is go on long rides together. We love doing that. Like get in a car and just drive and talk, okay? Especially when it's nighttime, like say it's like starting to get dark, and then you just drive and talk. And I remember 4th of July, my husband drove around trying to find where people were doing the fireworks, you know what I mean? And we were driving all over the place. It was dark, and the girls were hearing the fireworks, and it's like, oh my gosh. And then we just parked, and the fireworks was going on over there, stars in the sky, and we just was in the car just talking to each other and laughing, and it was just a wonderful night, okay? So go on long rides together without your devices. I mean, you don't have to leave them at home, but that's probably good, you know, for the kids to be without their devices, so then they connect and talk. Another one, cook together. Cooking in the kitchen, get some music going in the kitchen, some really good conversations come out, okay? And doing things together like that, and kids talk. A lot of times my oldest daughter will be talking about things that she's thinking about, you know, things that she see at school, and asking me about it, right? And I'll tell you what I do with that in a second, right? A lot of good conversations come when everybody is cooking. You in the kitchen. The kitchen is a beautiful place to have good conversations, okay? Another one, garden together. Going out there, working hard in the garden and talking to each other, that goes hand in hand. We have, it's good work, it's cleansing because you're working, you're out in the air, you're out in the sun is, you know, is coming down on you, you know what I mean? And it's a good way to have a conversation. Some good conversations come from that. Doing hair for us, right? You sitting there for a long time. Anything where you're spending time with each other and you're sitting for a long time, or you're working together for a long time. When the outside world is outside, honey, outside of what y'all space, is a good way to set up an environment for conversations. We're going to talk about key things, key ways to grow the conversation when you're in those settings in a minute, right? So we got, you know, go on long rides without devices. We got cook together, garden together, doing hair, bath time. During bath time, Maya, and that's her special time when nobody's there. That's another key. Like doing things with your children. When you have more than one child, when it's just you and them, then that's really good, because when you have all your kids together, they're all competing for your attention, and they're all competing for a chance to be able to say what they need to say. We all gotta take turns. But sometimes we have to just be with one child and be available for one child, for them to say what they need to say and ask questions and say their thoughts, right? Get their thoughts out. One child. Every child is different. And we learn how every child is different, and we learn how to customize how we parent, and how we have these conversations with each child when we have alone time with them. And plus, they feel like I get to have mom right now, or I get to have dad, and there's been something on my mind, and I want to ask them. They're not going to always ask and talk to you about stuff when everybody's around, okay? Right? A lot of the best conversations me and Jazzy has had is after Maya went to bed, okay? Some of the best conversations me and Maya has had has been on the walk home from school, or in the car, driving home from school, right? So having alone time with your children is another good tip, okay? One of the things we love to do is, and that's us girls. My husband don't really, that's not his thing, okay? But that's us. And we have our own special thing, is we like to turn off all the lights. I love it, Jazzy loves it, and Maya loves it. Turn off all the lights in the house and just sit on the couch and just talk. I'm feeling peaceful and relaxed right now, just thinking about it and just imagining it, okay? Sometimes we do that in the living room. Sometimes we do that in our bed, you know what I mean? When my husband's at work, he works at night, in our bed. So we're all up in the bed under the covers. And then the girls sometimes bring their own blankets too. And we just be chilling and talking. And we laugh together. So we laugh a lot during these times. You know what I mean? We laugh a lot. We be making music and beats. We always doing that in our house. Me and Maya and Jazzy, always doing that. A song out of nowhere, banging on the counter or something, and shaking a box of oatmeal. Next thing you know, a song is coming out. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So just turn everything off. Just be at peace, and then thoughts can come out. There's that extra stimulation that we are so used to nowadays. We got TVs, we got computers, we got cell phones, we got, all this extra noise drowns out the communication that we can be having with our children, okay? So that's a big deal, all right? So those are just some of the ways that you could create an environment where, I love tea. Some of the ways where you can create an environment where a conversation just gets started, or something that's been on your child's mind. They've been wanting to talk to you about, or they've been wanting to talk about it, or they have a conflict, or they have a problem that they've been dealing with, and they just decide to ask you about it right then, because the environment is set up and it makes it easy, effortless. And this is why I'm giving you these tips, because I want to help you make it easy and effortless. That's what I want. I want it to be like, this is just, it just naturally happens, because our children, no matter what we think, and don't believe the hype, don't believe the world nowadays is just trying to get kids to always go against their parents and have totally different ideas against parents, and their parents just don't understand them, and that wedge between us, we don't have time for that here, okay? Believe it or not, our children want to talk to us. You know how I know our children want to talk to us? Just not just from personal experience, but also, like, when they look at us, they see themselves, okay? And my girls look at me, and then they do things. They learn how to do things by watching me. My youngest daughter, one night I was cleaning up in my room, and I was like, I'm gonna clean up and organize everything, so in the morning I don't have to do it. I'll wake up to a clean room. And then she said, me too, mommy, and she was in the room doing the same thing. I see my oldest daughter, when I go in the kitchen, I could be making something. Sometimes I make a conditioner, put it in my hair, or sometimes I'm cooking, right? And I see her just watching me. She's just watching me. They're watching us. If they're watching how we do things, they're learning. We're a walking example, okay? Another thing that we have that they need to learn from, or want to learn from, is we have life experience, okay? So they want to talk to us. If it seems like they don't want to talk to us, it's because that connection is not built. And even when a connection is not built, they still want to talk to us. But it's just, when a connection is there, it's just easier for them to talk to us. But if there's a problem with communication, if there's a lack of connection, and then there's a wall, then it seems like our children don't want to talk to us. And it's our job to remove the wall, okay? That's what we do here, okay? So, a couple of things to remember when you're having these conversations. Because everything that I just described has been like positive growth, good experiences, right? But sometimes it ain't pretty. Sometimes it's not pretty, okay? So, what happens when it's not pretty? What happens when your child is trying to talk to you or communicate with you and it's not pretty? Like, they're being disrespectful, okay? We're not going to allow them to be disrespectful. Again, I know there are different thoughts on this, but I'm gonna let y'all know, because I am all about helping kids express themselves in a healthy way, and a way that's going to help them as they get older be able to express themselves, right? And be assertive, right? But be respectful, okay? But y'all know I'm tough when it comes to my students. Like, some stuff I don't tolerate. It's some stuff I just cut them right off, okay? So we're going to have to talk about when we have to and let them know they're crossing the line, and how to redirect them so that they are hurt, okay? So don't allow your child to disrespect you, because if your child disrespecting you, when they're talking, think they could talk to you any old kind of way, even if they're upset. Then when they are in school, they're going to do the same thing, okay? So we don't want that, all right? They say what they need to say, but in a respectful, healthy way. We still need boundaries. Now, the question to ask yourself, to not get it mixed up, is what is your child trying to communicate to you, okay? And then if they're being disrespectful, you have to stop it. You have to set the structure in place. And you have to let them know, I want to hear what you got to say, but you need to check yourself, okay? That's Miss Sharita talk, okay? Just take a breath, get it together, and then tell me. I want to hear it. But you got to change how you coming at me, because I'm not going to be able to hear you or understand you when you coming at me like that. And then by your body language, you can, stop what you're doing and sit down and be like, come on, and sit them down on the couch and be like, so tell me, and really listen. As long as they are saying it in a respectful way, they have your full attention, okay? Sometimes we have to just stop what we're doing and listen when our children are trying to say something, okay? And then ask them more questions, and we'll talk about that more in a second. But ask them more questions, and then paraphrase. So what you're saying is, correct me if I'm wrong, or if I'm not getting this right. So what you're saying is ... Is that it? You know what I mean? And then they can say yes, or they can add something to it. Make sure you understand what they're saying, and then y'all could go on from there. But them just wilding out and yelling and cursing and being disrespectful because they got to get this out. You are a person too. You are a human being too, okay? And you are their mother. You gave birth to them. So they need to have some structure, but then be able to communicate in a way where they get everything out, and they can, but in a way that they were heard. You understand? Listen, as adults, this is something that we all need to learn as well as adults. I needed to learn it as a mental health specialist. I had a supervisor, Derek Knighton, and I was very opinionated when it came to the kids, and I disagreed with the clinicians a lot. The girl was causing trouble, right? I disagreed a lot. And he used to pull me aside and be like, Miss Sharita. And I guess that's where I got Miss Sharita from with my students. Because that's what he used to call me, Miss Sharita. He was like, what you're saying is valid, but you just have to learn how to deliver it with tact. Okay? Because they're not hearing you. Okay? So you just have to learn a better way to say it so that they can hear you. Okay? Because what you're saying, I understand what you're saying. They're not hearing you because of how you're saying it. I needed to learn that lesson as a grown person, okay? In my 20s, okay? So I know that we need to teach this to our children now. We need to teach them to learn how to express themselves in a way that they can be heard, and in a way that they can be respectful, because if they don't respect you, how they gonna respect their teachers? And then when they get older in their relationships, they still not respecting nobody, and they feel like they can talk any kind of way. So they have to be able to express in a healthy way. They have to, in a respectful way. And if you need to redirect them, do that. But then guide them, redirect them so that they can still get everything out and get your full attention. They'll learn. Next time I want to talk to mommy, I have to come and approach her this way, and then I'll get to get everything. I get to say what I need to say, and she'll hear me. Okay. Another thing that can get tricky is sometimes you have to say no to your child, or sometimes you have to set a rule or a structure, right? Set up some structure or a boundary. And it's very important for them to follow it, okay? And sometimes our children are expressing themselves and talking, but really it's arguing and trying to avoid following directions or trying to push back so that they don't have to listen. If it's the same every single time you tell your child to clean up the kitchen, they got something to say. That's not supposed to happen. They want to talk about it, they want to argue about it, they want to complain about it, they don't feel like they should be doing it, they feel like their other brother should do it, they feel like, you know what I'm saying, or sister, or they feel like you should do it, right? That's not healthy. That's not growing them. You giving them a chore is going to grow them. When they get older and they start working and their boss or their supervisor gives them a task and they do all of that, they're going to get fired. You understand what I'm saying? So if it's something like that and it's happening every single time, it's a pattern, they done said what they needed to say, right? But they still doing it every single time. It's not a need for expression. It's a way to get out of or stall doing a task that you told them to do. Because they feel like if I argue about it enough, if I complain about it enough, then mom is just going to be like, just forget it, I'll do it. Or just forget it, and then get somebody else to do it. We ain't doing that. So, in those situations, all right, ask yourself, what is their motivation for this self-expression? What is the actual motivation in the moment? Is the motivation to connect with you and to get you to listen because they're trying to get something, figure out something, or grow in their thinking, right? Or is it to get out of doing the dishes? If it's to get out of doing the dishes, move on, okay? that's different. So make a judgment call. And then they can do the dishes, right? And another time, if they have an idea where a chore idea or a chore will or a chore schedule or this or that, and they want to present it to you as an idea, and you want to listen, fine. All right? And if you decide to go with it, fine. That's a mature way. That's a better way to approach you. That's a better way to express themselves, okay? Right? And you also, you have opened up the door. Like, I need you to do your chore, all right? I told you yesterday, and it's still sitting here. I need you to do this chore. I told you hours ago you was in the living room playing on the game or on your phone, right? Get it done. But it's not fair. We'll talk about it later. Right now, I get it done, and I need this done in the next 30 minutes, and then bounce, right? And then later on, when you talk to them, like, I don't want every time it's time for you to do your chore for this to be happening, right? And then if you have an idea for how to organize these chores so that everybody does their part, and I'm happy with it, it looks good, give it to me. Teach them. Express themselves. Give some leadership, Give them the floor, right? But this is, again, is teaching them. And they will be able to express themselves more and get you to listen to them better if they approach it in a respectful way and they still follow directions. Y'all get my drift? Okay. So now, another tip I want to tell you is, don't try to be perfect. Don't try to be perfect, okay? Just enjoy the growth journey that you and your child are about to go on. If you and your child are not communicating well and they feel like you don't listen to them, this is the journey you're about to go on. You're about to get better at your communicating. You're about to get better at listening. But it's not just you. Your child also has to get good at listening. And you can teach them through example. And you can teach them through structuring it and giving them the opportunity to speak. Now, some people might be against the structure thing. Your child should be able to say whatever, whenever they want, get it off their chest. Like I said, that's not going to fly when they're interacting and having relationships with other people, okay? But we do want them to be able to express themselves and talk, and we want to create situations where they're always expressing themselves and talking and getting their thoughts out, and you're always listening. And when I say always, I mean continuously, right? And the more they do that, the less they will be disrespectfully just blurting stuff out and fighting. Okay? Now, what I want to do is talk to you about asking questions. All right? This is a money maker right here. This is a game changer. I have learned the thoughts of so many children over the past 20 years. It's been amazing. It's like when kids start talking and they start getting their thoughts out and their own perspective, it's amazing. It's a truly amazing experience to hear a child saying their thoughts on a matter and what they think, and then having a conversation with them. What we don't want is for children to be saying just what they think we want to hear. The reason why I say that is because if they're just saying just what we want to hear, then in their minds, in their heads, are still unresolved issues. And unresolved issues may turn into problems later. Or unresolved issues mean that they're growing up and they don't know how to really solve these problems or talk to people or get their thoughts out, you know what I mean? Or set boundaries themselves. They won't know if they walk away from us and they still had questions and they still had thoughts and they didn't express them. They just said what they thought they should say. We don't want that. So, in order to accomplish that, we have to get away from, if we're doing this, right? We have to get away from just telling them and asking them, okay? And when I mean telling them, what I mean is telling them what to think, but first asking them and then guiding them. So that's what we're going to flip it, okay? Always be asking questions. Always be asking questions. A couple of days ago, Maya came to me and she asked me a question, right? She's in kindergarten, but I called a reading program that they're having. It's going to be at Rutgers University, my stomping ground where I went to school. I'm so excited. She's so excited. We're all excited. But she reads at a very high level. She's very advanced. So I wanted to get her into the 2nd to 5th grade group, right? And they did it. They got her into the 2nd grade reading group for the summer. So she's hearing everything, and I told her, what she's going to be doing, where she's going to be going. And I told, she heard me and my husband talking. So she came to me, she's like, Mommy. And when she say mommy like that, I know she got something on her mind she want to talk to me about. And I'm folding clothes. See? Cleaning up, right? Cooking. You alone. That's when kids feel like they can come to you and talk to you, right? So I'm in a room, I'm folding up clothes, and she comes in the room and she's like, Mommy, and I'm like, yes. And she said, are you going to be with me when I go to the reading program? And I could have said, I don't know. I don't know if they allow parents in or if you have to wait outside. I could have just answered like that. And then that would have been the end of it. But I didn't. And what I did was, what I encourage you all to do is, instead of responding quickly, ask a question, okay? So, because I wanted to know why she was asking me that in the first place. So I said, do you want me to be there? And then she said, yes. And I said, why? Right? I still never answered her. And then she said, because I want to make sure nobody's doing nothing sneaky. And I'm like, what? What? What you mean sneaky? So then I asked her, what do you mean? And she said she wanted to make sure that the older kids, she didn't know. She's going to be in 2nd grade, but I was saying 2nd and 5th grade. So it was like older kids. Even though Maya gets along with kids of all ages, she was concerned about this. And she's like, she wanted to make sure that they're not taking her stuff, that they're not bullying her. You know what I mean? Right? There's a concern there's a conversation. She also said she wanted to make sure that they're not doing sneaky things like not giving us food to eat. My baby love to eat. It's a 1 hour reading program. She like, is there gonna be snacks? All right. But the other part was her big concern. And then at the snack thing, I told her afterwards we'll go sit down and get something to eat together, right? So it's gonna be a nice little experience. I'm so proud of her that she's gonna be going into this program. But now I know what her concern is. She's like, I'm gonna be with these bigger kids for the first time in the classroom. I'm nervous, right? So then obviously we were able to have a conversation about it, and I just kept asking more questions and getting more of her. The reason I'm asking more questions is because I want her to get everything out. I want her to get everything out and tell me everything, okay? That's on her mind. I don't want her to walk away feeling like she still have this nervousness and worry. And I'm not saying she won't be nervous later. What I'm saying is I want the conversation to answer all her questions. And the way it's answer all her questions is because I'm asking her all these questions and seeing how she feel and what she thinks before I answer anything. All right? And turns out I just really had to really answer a couple of things for her to feel satisfied and feel good. Okay? So always be asking questions. Instead of answering first quickly, ask questions. Okay? Next, asking, what do you think about that? Sometimes my oldest daughter will come to me, like, especially we in the kitchen cooking and stuff or cleaning up, right? And she'll be talking to me about stuff she's seen at school or everything. Especially, she just entered high school last year. It was new for her. It's a new environment, new experiences, and then this ain't middle school no more, right? And she was seeing stuff that she had seen before by the upperclassmen. And she would come to me and she would start talking to me about it, right? Now, she know what I think. She knows me very well. So, and my facial expressions, I can't really hide it. But then when she asked me, what do you think? I'm like, what do you think? I want to know first. I want to give her the floor first. She was there. She saw it. She had thoughts. She had questions. She, some cases, had concerns. What do you think? Right? So, her saying what she thinks, right? And then me saying, and asking more questions about it. Now we're having a good conversation. And then I can guide her because she wants guidance. I can guide her after that. And now y'all have to understand, during these conversations, our children do want guidance. They do. But they also want and need to say stuff and get their thoughts out, right? So we have to do our job as parents in guiding our children. But we have to know where they are first with their thoughts. Where they at. So we know how to guide them. Right? Makes sense? Okay. So before you give your opinion about something, if your child comes to you, ask them what they think. And then ask them why. And then ask them more stuff. And then paraphrase like, oh, okay, so you feel like this. Or you think this. Right? Make it about them for a while before you come in with your thoughts and your guidance. Okay? All right. So, right, listen first, but ask what we think, ask them what they think first. Okay? Now I got some general questions, and I have a bonus tip at the end. A question that I always ask of my students and of my kids is, how was school today? Or how was your day today for my students? And then, or for my kids if they went to school that day. And then they say, fine, good. I say, what was good about it? If they say bad, so my students be like, bad. What was bad about it? What happened? And then they could say, right? So we have to, when I say thought-provoking questions, we have to ask questions that will have them extend their answer, extend the conversation, or get deeper into it. If we just ask, how was your day? And they say, fine, there may be some things that happened that day that wasn't fine, or they may, when they start talking about what was fine, what was good, grow in that conversation. You understand what I'm saying? So whenever they answer fine, good, or bad, we want to say what was good about it, what was fine about it, or what was bad about it, right? If your child is coming to you and they're having a problem and they're upset about something and they start complaining, right? Then instead of you just telling them what to do, ask them, what do you want to do about that? Now they understand where you're coming from, and they know who you are as a mom, who you are as a person, right? But ask them, because they are growing into who they are as a person. So the same thought process that you have, or the same freedom you have to make decisions and figure things out, right? And like, this is who I am, so this is where I stand. Our children will learn that as well. And when we set things up like this, then they learn to do it in a respectful way. That's better for them, because when they grow up, they are better able to do that and talk to anybody and solve problems and solve conflicts and everything else. Or we could have them just like, I'm so angry, and then yelling and cursing people out, and next thing you know, things are not solved. You understand what I'm saying? So ask them, train them. What do you want to do about that? What do you want to do about it? What do you think you should do? And let them talk. And they say, I don't know, what do you think? What do you think? I am a hot potato when it comes to, I use the hot potato when it comes to that kind of communication with my students and my kids. You know what I'm saying? Again, if there are things that we just have to tell them, and it is what it is, it is what it is. But there's what I'm talking to you about today, there's so many different ways to help them express themselves and connect with us, right? That fighting and you know, it is what it is, that's it, I said no, that doesn't have to be the majority of the interaction if we equip them with how to communicate, and we are available with being able to listen, right? What do you want to do about that? And then some self-expression questions that I ask, and I've been asking kids for years, like, what are you good at and what do you want to get better at? What are you good at? What do you feel like you're very good at? Like, you got this, right? And what do you want to get better at? It reminds me of when I was teaching in Newark, my stopping ground, and I didn't buy things and hang up teacher posters and things like that, hang up in my classroom. I had the kids create them. I created them, and I had my kids create them, okay? Because I felt like that was better for the learning process. And I remember giving everybody in the classroom jobs to do. And there was a banner, right? And I was like, I want to create a banner for the classroom. And 2 kids wanted to do it. So I had them work together on the banner. So that's teamwork. They had to work and communicate with each other and everything. I had no idea that both of them was so good at art and design. I had no idea, these 5th grade. It was outstanding, right? Doing a project where I was getting kids to do different things in the classroom, I learned what they were good at personally, right? Because they were contributing to the classroom and they were showing up in their best, and this is what I can contribute. I'm good at this, okay? So asking the kids themselves, what do you think you're good at? What are you very good at? And giving them a chance to show it, giving them a chance to demonstrate it, right? Give them a chance to stand in front of people and showcase their own stuff and talk about it, right? That's good for self-expression. What do you think you're good at? And then ask, what do you want to improve on? And I ask myself that all the time. You know, I'm goal and achievement oriented, and that's what I teach my students and my own children. But also, what do you want to get better at? They start thinking. I ask kids this in the consultation. What would you like to improve on? Okay? What would you like to improve? Reading, writing, spelling, math? Because this is what I teach kids. But I also teach kids a lot more than that. Okay? But as far as academically, this is what I teach them. And then they think, and then they tell me, and then I ask, why? Can you elaborate? Okay, again, so they can really get it out. Now when they start working with me, they have told me what they want to get better at, right? And we're going to see it through, okay? Another question you can ask, how would you describe yourself? How would you describe yourself? And listen, ask these questions about them, okay? And then have them tell you. That's growth for them. And then they feel like, you want to know about me. You're listening to me. And now I want to tell you more about myself. You understand? So asking these questions, these thought-provoking self-expression questions, okay? Another thing I just thought about, if there's something going on in the outside world, or if there's something on the news, right? And they hear all the adults talking about it, kids be having questions, kids be having thoughts. You can include them in the conversation in an appropriate way, right? Depending on their age and everything, you can include them in an appropriate way. And you can ask them what they heard, okay? They saw someone on the news. You want to know what their perspective is first. Ask them what they heard and what they saw, you know, and then ask, what do you think about that? What do you think about that? And if they just start saying what they heard everybody else say, you're like, so that's what you think, or that's what you heard everybody else say? Right? Let them that gives them a chance to think, what do I actually think? Right? Instead of just, because they want to model us, okay? All right, so those are some general questions to get you started. When you are, want your child, always be asking questions. You want your child to express themselves. You want to be available to listen. You want them to learn more and more about themselves as they're expressing themselves. Okay? We talked about the structure and the boundary and the difference between expressing, you need to express yourself and get something out, and being passionate and being disrespectful, and how to put boundaries around it and still listen. Now, if we put boundaries around it, and then we weren't available to listen at all, and teach them how to talk to us in a respectful way so that we can hear them, and tell them this is how you need to get your thoughts out, be assertive when you're talking to other people. When you're growing up, we're in the outside world, you need to get your thoughts out, you need to be heard. But if you do it that way, people not going to hear you. They're going to cut you off, okay? So teaching them that, we talked about that as well, okay? We also talked about their environment, having an environment where your kids will always have a chance to talk to you and get their thoughts out, things that we're doing. And being alone is good because you're available. They don't have to compete with you. Taking them places with just them so that they can talk to you as well, right? My kids are thinkers and talkers. They think about stuff and then they start talking. Maya more so than Jazzy. Jazzy's quieter like her dad. And Maya is very talkative like her mom. It is what it is, y'all. It is what it is. Right? So we talked about that as well. These are ways to just set it up so that it's effortless. Okay? So we talked about the good. We talked about this, some resurrection need to happen. Now I'm going to give y'all a bonus tip. And it doesn't include you. It's mostly helping kids express themselves and think. And sometimes we do have to remove ourselves so that they can feel good enough to express themselves and with less pressure and in a different level. Have them talk to each other and give each other advice. Right? I did this yesterday. I had my high school students come. Neither one of them wanted to work. They were slackers. The other ones, 2 of them were not there that day, and their moms let me know that they weren't going to be there that day. Oh, one of them, she's an athlete, right? The 2 that came didn't want to do no work. And they thought that I was going to be working real hard to get them to do work and respond and participate, but I don't do that, okay? It takes 2. So what I did was I gave them work to do, and then I had them discuss the math. We were doing math with each other, find an answer together, discuss it. And I was in the chat. So I was typing, and they couldn't see me, but I was typing and guiding them. So then I asked at the end, each other why you didn't show up to do your best today, right? So then they had to ask each other. It's different when they ask each other, and then they're given the answer to. It's just like they really take responsibility because it's another kid that I'm talking to, okay? And then I typed in for them to give their advice. Now, they didn't hear me saying anything. Like, what you should have done was this, and you should come to class doing this, blah, blah, blah. And they know that already. But they didn't hear me saying anything. They were talking to each other. And all I kept doing was typing in for one of them to ask each other questions about it, and then give each other advice. So they were giving each other advice. And then next thing you know, they were saying themselves, yeah, I know I didn't do my best. I should have done this instead. And what you should do next time, I think what you should do next time is such and such. If you're not going to be here because one of them didn't come to class the day before, you're not going to be here, just text Miss Sharita, instead of, because it looked like you just didn't come to class, not that you were running late for your other program. What you should do next time is, and I'm hearing all of this, they're getting it all out to each other. If you have more than one child and they learn how to do this, it's a game changer. You hear me? And then when I come back in and I start giving them their points, right? Then they start talking to me. But they express themselves thoroughly with each other, so it's easier now to talk to me. Okay? So you can do that with your children. You can have them, if they're upset about something, they have a problem or a conflict. I've been doing that with kids for years, where they talk to each other. I even wrote a book. It's called Kids Give Advice, with real life questions. I'm going to post the link after this. But real life situations that happen in my life as a child and also as teachers. My students, as a teacher, my students, over the years when I was teaching, they had conflicts. And they asked the kids who are reading to give advice to the students. And there's role play in it. And then there's a writing prompt and breaking it down in an organizer and writing and spelling practice. All that other stuff is in it. So I'm going to post the link below. But definitely get them used to talking to each other because they grow so much. They don't have the pressure of how they're supposed to talk to an adult, okay? And that allows them sometimes space to think and grow, okay? And they don't have to be worried about saying what you think they should say, okay? So there are so many different ways to get our kids to express themselves. And then when they come to us, now they're better able because they have already expressed themselves to just take responsibility, which is what my students did. They took responsibility, they apologized, and they told me they was going to show up the next day. But they already resolved it between themselves, right? Honey, I had an easy day yesterday. They came in thinking they was going to give me a hard time and not listen. Y'all going to work, and they worked, honey. Whenever my students come and they decide they don't want to work, they really work. So that don't happen a lot, okay? But when it does, they end up doing way more work than they would have if they just went along with me, okay? We ain't gonna do that, all right? You're gonna come, your parents paying for this, you're gonna come, you're gonna do your best, all right? Do your best, okay? So that was great. That was a great, I just wanted to tell you about that situation. All right, thank you so much. Tune in next week. It's gonna be Q&A. If you have any questions, and I'm gonna be answering common questions that I get from moms, okay, in the live. If you have questions, you can put them in the comment section or DM me, right? And we'll get back to you and use them in the live, okay? I can't wait to hear what y'all got to say. All right? All right, for more information, go to growthinstitute.mykajabi.com. It's GROWTH institute.mykajabi.com. Like and share for other moms who are looking for ways to improve their connections with and communication with their children and sometimes feel stuck, sometimes feel frustrated, sometimes feel like you don't know what to do because this is wrong and that's wrong and all this other stuff. We have to learn to trust our mother's intuition. And learn along the way and grow along the way. We're not trying to be perfect here. We ain't perfect. We just trying to be better every single day. That's how we do it, y'all. That's how we roll, okay? All right? All right? So, and also for free consultation, if you're looking for a tutor that will help your child improve their behavior and learning from home, and you want a tutor that help do that for your child, also go to growthinstitute.michaeljabi.com or send me a message, direct message, and then we'll get back to you so we can set up a free consultation. All right, loves? Thank you so much for watching. And I can't wait to see you next Saturday when we do the Q&A, honey. It's going down. Have a beautiful Saturday. Take care of yourself. And I'll see you soon. Believe in yourself. Believe in your child, honey. And always remember that growth is unlimited. Peace.